Hey friends, how are you all doing today? Welcome back to my studio. I hope you're having a great day. So I've been thinking, and you should probably get nervous. We did this video where I talked about drawing a fried egg in order to have guides of how to paint this daisy. We also did it here on this little sunflower, and these videos are doing well. Thank you guys. I'm so happy you like them. So now I was thinking, well, what if you're not comfortable with the fried egg method and, painting a whole petal with one brush stroke or layers, that kind of thing. I do draw some of these petals with the brush too. You don't have to know how to do it in like one swipe. I thought maybe we should draw a daisy and practice our drawing skills, how you might break that down into shapes and think shapes like we did with the snowman video. I did a part 1 and a part 2 snowman video where the emphasis was thinking and drawing simple shapes to make some cute images. Well, let's try and apply that to some flowers. Okay, let's have some fun. Here are the snowmen I was talking about. Aren't they cute? Oh, and I should show you quick. So, I kind of did a version of this snowman on my chalk wall. There's a chalk video that just went out. Here, I'm gonna stop the video and show you quick. Isn't that cute? So you can see, I'll pan down to the right, there's like my little chalk cart, a couple of easels, some canvases, a closet. But isn't that cute? It's a really big snowman on my chalk wall. Okay, thanks for letting me do that. So I'm gonna see if I could tape up my microphone cord here. It's kind of, I forgot to do that. Okay, I think that'll work. So this video is all about thinking shapes. And I thought I'd show you how I take off the paper from my watercolor pad. Just stick a palette knife in there, or a table knife, whatever you got, and you just, I hope you can see some of that. Oop. Isn't that neat? And it keeps it quite flat, which is really nice. Okay, just a little side note there. This is a watercolor pad I got from Blick Art Materials. It's 9x12, 140 pound, cold press. So that means it has some texture to it. If you don't want any texture, you get hot press. 100% cotton means it's gonna be archival. Oh, acid-free, archival, even tells you. Alrighty. So you're not comfortable doing an egg shape. And I'll link those, the daisy video and the sunflower video in this video description. Well, you could print out photos. These are from Unsplash. And print them to the size you want them and make it traceable. It's not cheating. Use the tools that you have to help you both have fun and to get good results. I mean, the whole point is to have fun. This one's kind of grainy, but I liked that the daisies, like this daisy, I think we'll do one like that. And here's another one. So use a traceable. I have traceables on my website. You might want to try some of my birds. What else do I've got? Bees, the bees are fun. Okay, so let's give ourselves, make sure we're kind of on camera here. Tried to get my video arms up as high as I could. Let's give ourselves kind of a bounding box. And look how wonky my box is. And so what a lot of artists do too is they'll draw something and get it pretty close, like that snowman, and then they'll trace it and refine it. And then they'll take that tracing and refine it depending on what they're looking for and how, or they'll do versions, like I did, 6 versions of snowman. You start kind of getting creative. Like my ice skates are pretty simple shapes there. I mean, you could do the whole boot and the blade and thing. But you know, they'll just keep refining and refining too until they get it, and then they'll take that traceable, put it onto a canvas or whatever they want and do the painting. Or they'll do little thumbnail sketches. A lot of people like want to paint out of their heads. Well, I can kind of paint this out of my, I can paint this out of my head because I've painted flowers enough. But those artists that you watch that just do landscapes out of their imagination didn't start there. So keep that in mind too. It doesn't make you less of an artist because you use tools. I'm using a pencil, I'm using a pad, I'm using a palette knife, you're gonna use brush, paints, those are all tools. Okay, I feel like I just yelled at you. So this might not be the best composition. Well here, I don't know which one we should start with. Should we start with this one? This one right here because we can really see it. And I might be able to, oh yay, I can set it there and you guys can see it. So let's have it maybe right here. So how am I gonna start? Well, this shape is kind of a dome. So let's start with a dome. And normally I would draw lighter, but I want you guys to be able to see it. And then this, it's not exactly, but we could kind of do a parenthesis. So let's do that. And you can tell already my dome is higher than that dome. If you wanted to, like with pet portraits, I do traceables to make sure I get everything the right scale, right size, right place. And it speeds it up. And I just had this conversation with somebody on Facebook, and it saves my client money because it speeds it up. Okay, and then if you want to get technical, I don't know if you can see it, but there's a little oval right there. So we'll just put one up there. Cool, kind of looks like a gumdrop or something. Now the petals, what's nice about flowers as opposed to doing pet portraits or people portraits is you gotta get them close because the family member knows their fuzzy loved one or their other family member. But flowers come in all shapes, sizes, petals skip. You know, no one's gonna be upset if your petals aren't in the right place. So I'm looking at this one. I hope this is helpful. You can kind of see it. It kind of is a square. Here, let's do it that way. It's a square with a dip. And it points just a little bit that way. So let's do a square. And then I'm gonna dip it. Cool. We could skip this little one. Maybe we will. And it's kind of blurry, but we can just kind of get it in there. So this is kind of like a, let's just draw it. I don't know, it's kind of like what? Let's break it down. It goes straight. It curves. And then there's another petal covering it. So we'll just go straight and then we'll connect it. Oh, another way you could draw, which isn't cheating, is I've got I'll link it in this video. I drew one of my rooster paintings. Excuse me, guys. I gridded it, gridding meaning I drew lines on my photo, like in a 1-inch grid, and then if you want to scale it up, draw a 2-inch grid on your piece of paper, and then I drew a rooster. I've got also a chicken video that I drew completely before I painted it. I'll link those in this video description in case that's helpful. So should we simplify this and just draw? So this is kind of like, it just kind of goes like a parenthesis. And then we could add to it and follow the parenthesis. Can you see that? I just kind of squared it off. So you're mostly seeing it from the side. This one gets a little tough right here. Might not have been, that's where this one's easier. Oh, sorry, that one's not coming up. Let me grab this one. Because you don't have too many, you're not looking straight at it straight on, but you can see the shapes of the petals easier. Hang on a second, I tried to pick this one up and it doesn't want to go back. I want to straighten it, it was bugging me. Okay, so let's skip to this petal. It kind of goes square, I mean like straight line. And you could square it off or you could kind of make a little point on it. So let's add that one right here, because then we can maybe figure out how to deal with this space. So sometimes it's like putting a puzzle together, you don't know what to do with everything, but do the things you can handle, and sometimes it'll help you solve your other problems. It's hard for me to talk and draw. And I made that bigger. So let's put one here. Let's take, I don't know if you can see. This was a really grainy photo. Let's just put kind of one in. We'll just go almost straight. And then we'll make a V shape. Well, that's gonna be too fat for a daisy. We'll split it in two and go petal. So we've kind of got one coming down, tucking under. And I also think just watching me do this might help you. Watch me kind of go slow. Okay, so this one, if you want to get picky, kind of comes up a little bit. So we'll go up. And you can exaggerate. I'm exaggerating. And there's actually two petals here. I don't know if you can see them. I'm just going to do one. This one kind of comes towards us. So really what's happening is we're only seeing the end of the petal. There's a whole bunch that connects into the flower, we just don't see it. There's a whole nother thing down there. Now this one's like a comma. I'll put this little guy in there just for variety. And see, I'm running out of space, so I'm not going to put all these petals in. There's a comma. It's a big fat comma or apostrophe. And then we've got kind of a side view one. There's two petals there too, but let's just do the bigger one. So it's kind of a rectangle. I'm going to bend that rectangle up just a little. I so hope this helps you guys. You'll have to let me know in the comments. I'm thinking it will, since you guys like the daisy. Oh, and I made that pretty long, but we're not going to worry about it. Since you like the daisy and the sunflower simple paintings. Oh, and the snowman. I'm thinking this is a good follow-up video. So I'm just following this line right here. So why do this? Because it'll help you see. I think there's more than one petal, but I'm going to make it a petal that dips. I don't know if I like that one, but you know, flowers don't have normal petals. It'll help you see. You'll get better and more confident at drawing. And if you draw better, you paint better. And when you paint better, you draw better. They both help each other, you know? But a lot of times people want to jump in. Like when I was a kid, I loved the colors in a coloring book. I didn't want to learn how to draw a coloring book. I just liked coloring. You know, it was fun. Okay. There isn't a right or a wrong way to do this. But the better you draw, the better you'll paint. The better that you paint, the better you draw. I already just said that. Okay, I'm going to concentrate here. So I'm going to think basically a rectangle. Actually, I'm going to think a triangle. So if I kept bringing this down, I'd have a triangle that meets about right there. And then let's do, for variety's sake, let's just do another triangle. And now we could have more petals. Do we want a space or do we want a petal in there? Let's leave a space. And then if you want it to dip, add the dip. Because they kind of do that when they bend over. And the funny thing is the more you start to draw and paint, the more you really start to go, oh, look at that, or look at that color, or look at the shape, you know, you really start kind of, like I take cloud photos a lot. And I'm just like, oh, wow, look at that cloud. Oh, I need to do more cloud videos too. I need to do more landscape videos. Oh, I've noticed, and I don't know if this is true, but I think it is, that artists want to jump right into painting landscapes. I do have some simple landscape videos you might like. I'll link a couple of those in the comments below. So we have a daisy. And sometimes I've got, like in my coneflower painting, I talk about kind of wiggling the stems and not making them so stiff. But this, I think this is a great place to start. Okay, so let's do one. Okay, I kind of want it looking at, oh here, let's do this one. I hope you can see it. Because it actually points, I want one, so one thing I think about is this is pointing straight up. I might want one pointing in this way, and then some things pointing this way to help, because I'm always talking about keeping the viewer's eye in the painting. Maybe we shouldn't worry about that since we're just practicing drawing. Okay, can you see? I'm gonna point with my finger, you can kind of see it. Okay, so this one is cone shaped. It is definitely a gumdrop. Can you see that? You can make it into a triangle. Okay, so I'm gonna, a lot of times I start with the center of a flower so I can stick the petals to it. And this one, I think is much easier. These are much easier if you want to start with these. So a lot of times I will, to help my painting, I will draw a petal that isn't in my reference. I'm gonna do it for you now just for fun. It kind of comes up and helps point you in the direction you want to go. You want the eye to go for the design of the painting. Let's just have a little, so that was a curve, straight, and a curve. Now let's stick one. Oh, sorry, I didn't know if that was on camera. Maybe I'll kind of fold it and set it down. I'm looking at these two. So you have like a V shape, and then you could just draw a curve. I kind of pointed mine to make it a little more interesting. So that's something that comes with practice and time. You just kind of figure out what you like. You'll have your own handwriting. Your flowers will not look like mine. But you see, like I draw short shapes or short strokes, pencil strokes sometimes. Don't have to do it all in one motion. You can do it in as few or as many as you want. I'm actually looking at this flower more because it's bigger. The petals are getting fatter. Okay, let's kind of do a squarish one. So parenthesis, I'm going to round it and bring it up, and then parenthesis. And then should we have just another little side one? It's kind of cute. And then a stem. Okay. That's fun. Should we do one more? Should we do one that's harder? I don't know, maybe you don't think that one's harder. Let me know in the comments. I really love just, and if you just stop by and say, hey, Annie, I love waving right back at you. It's fun for me. Okay, let's look at this guy. So this part's gonna be easy. Straight line, parenthesis. So we stick it down in here. I'm gonna make it a little smaller. Oop, I just drew it straight. Well, let's leave it. Let's see if it looks all right. Now, if you want to get technical, it's shorter on this side and longer on this side. But should we just do a rectangle like we did with the snowman? And then I'm gonna curve this up a little bit to remind me. Okay. Now these petals are kind of hard to see, but basically they're all just kind of bending. And here's the middle point, because you're looking at it straight on. And we could draw the petals back in the background, or we could just not even worry about them. So let's make, can we get away with making that a pretty big petal? It looks like it actually is. Can you see that? And also tracing it, so you kind of know what you're doing, can really help you too. Just trace the actual photo. Okay, so that one kind of comes, it comes out beyond my center. Oh, it dips. Let's do this. So a slight curve that way. Let's just bring it out, and curve it. So sometimes the difference between a good drawing and a slightly better drawing is the little details, just like painting, or getting the structure there, and then you can kind of hint at all of it. But people still sense the structure, even in a loose painting. So this one's kind of fun because it's got one that comes straight out. Here, I don't know if you can see it because it's kind of dark. It comes straight out and curves down. Okay, so we'll go straight out, curve down, and then just close it. That's kind of fun. We could stick one. I want to do this even though it's not so I have it point up. That's kind of cute. I like doing it. I like having my petals pointing. This one kind of points down. That was a happy accident. Okay. How can we simplify? I think this could be one. This is one petal right here. And it has a split, or else it's two. Might be two. Let's do this again. Let's do like a question mark. And come at an angle. And then we'll just follow this curve that we already had there. Do I want that wider? I don't know. That petal, this petal makes me nervous because it's kind of wide. I don't know if that's in proportion. Let's just keep going. Okay, let's do a comma. And then let's do, how about just another comma hiding behind it? And we could actually call it good, or you could tuck in another petal. Since I'm talking about it, we'll do it. I'm gonna put a little point on it. Fun! You know, that rectangle worked. Alrighty, so now, excuse me guys, I should stop the video and get a drink of water. So 3 is good, 5 is good, especially in smaller paintings or simpler paintings. If you get a bunch of flowers, put in as many as you like. It's kind of like flower arranging. You'll notice a lot of times I'll have an odd number of roses. So here, I printed this out because it had a decent bud on it. Let me get it closer because it's awfully dark. You can kind of see some down here. I like this one too, even though it's blurry, because you're looking at the same angle as like this one. It's pretty close. So we could put a couple bud. Let's put a bud up here. So this one's pretty good too. It's kind of that gumdrop shape again. And then there's a little green. It's hard to see. There's a little green there. You can kind of see it better here, but it's at a different angle. Okay, so I'm gonna have it looking, I'm gonna make it smaller. Just to get a little depth. And then we have our green. And then you could just put in some, actually we could put in with water. I'm gonna do this with watercolor. I call it watercolor sketching because it's quicker, faster, and you can see it, you know, you can see the colors and the choices quicker. There's not another word there. A lot of times I look for another word and there isn't one. We could turn this into a whole acrylic painting and take more time with it, whatever you want to do. But, you know, I've got a colored pencil video where I talk about shading. All the mediums help each other. Like when I draw on chalk, on my chalk wall, there's a lot of similarities between mediums. There's some differences, but there's a lot of things that are the same. Okay, so should we do one more little, oh here, you could even do this. You could pull like out a little, make it a little bigger. Sorry guys, I need to clear my throat. And then we could just have, like with a poppy, just have a little bud. And then we could just indicate, I'm just scribbling some leaves. Let's call that good. I think keep the lesson short, keep it doable, keep it fun. So hopefully that helps. You know what I've been saying to myself, I really need to do this. It would really help me is to do a quick sketch, you know, once a month. I could certainly work that into my schedule. You know, do a quick sketch every day. I would, you know, get better faster, but even doing this helps me. And I think you can see it. Here, maybe I should hold it up closer. I think you can see it really well because I drew it pretty dark. And they're kind of stylized, that's okay. If you want more realism, then you just keep looking at your reference photo and going for as close as you can get it. That's why I do the pet portrait. Now I'll block in the colors. I talk about that, or paint the shapes I see. You know, I'd paint like a little oval and a little dark green, whatever that is. You can almost paint it. I'm looking for a marker. I wonder if I have a marker. Here, maybe this pen will work. There's like a little, this shape there if you simplify it, and then it has a tail. You know, I'd paint that in. You could paint this shape. And then you just keep refining until you're happy with it, or until it looks, you know, ultra realistic. Hope that helped a little bit. Okay. I use different, I keep my paints separate. Sorry guys, I get an art brain and I can't talk. These are my watercolor paintbrushes. I used to teach in-person beginning watercolor classes. And that's really helpful because one thing about YouTube, I don't get the feedback of watching students paint. You can tell I use this one a lot. My students really like this one. It's a number 6 U-Trek. You could use these for acrylic too. This one is nice because it'll hold a point and it'll hold a lot of paint and you can paint faster. I pretty much use this one for large areas too, or like if I want almost like some calligraphy type strokes. This one I like. I should get another one for acrylic painting. It's long and it's wiggly, and so it can splatter. Oh, we should splatter. I love to splatter. That one's really fun for that. Oh, it is that's a number 6 U-Trek. You know, brushes and numbering varies from brand. It must have to maybe do, I don't know. I was gonna guess, but I have no idea why those are both 6s. It does have 800 here. This one has 228. I am not a brush expert. Oh, and then I just have a little craft brush I use for a liner brush here. I don't know what the number is on it. This one is a U-Trek 3/4 inch. And this one's a number 14. I think once you get into it and you get, don't use the brush you like. No biggie. But artists, as you get into it and you try to pick up speed, bigger brushes are faster. Okay. Especially if you're painting like, I don't know, for clients, so I've seen other artists do it. I normally wet my pans by dropping water into it because I don't know that I want water down in there, but I'm gonna try this because I've seen other artists do this on YouTube. Oh, and I have watercolors in a tube. These are pretty inexpensive. It's Cotman brand. And then you can keep them in a little palette. I like this lid just because it keeps the dust off. I used to just throw a towel over a ceramic plate that I use. Let's see if I can get this off. There we go. I didn't want to make a loud noise. You can keep them for a super long time and just wake them up. Actually, should we wake up the blue-green color? Can you see that? And sometimes they do dry out. I'm thinking this red, cadmium red, is pretty dry. Oh yeah, I don't know if you can see that down in there. Oh, I might be able to push out some of the dry stuff and get. So I like the pan. Some artists like this because it's already wet. You can get really nice pan colors. This is pan. Really expensive ones too, that are just as nice. So you work with what you like. You could do this with colored pencil. I was really big into colored pencils. Oh gosh, decade or two ago. Okay, let's get painting. This was a set from Blick Art Materials. Oh, I don't need to wet them. I think it was like $15. I don't know if it still is. It is Angora. It's a brand from Germany. I really like them. Really nice, heavily pigmented, inexpensive. I think they're fun. And I'm just gonna pretty much paint out of the tube here, or out of the pan. But you can mix. I'm mixing the lid. You could get a little palette like I just showed you and mix. Actually, maybe I'll grab this because it's already there. And it's kind of a darker green. So one tip, it's just kind of like acrylic painting. You can start, like when I did these, sorry I'm saying like a lot, I'm getting excited. I had transparent white and I built up the color. That's a really good strategy for watercolor. So I'm gonna kind of wiggle. And I meant to skip, but I didn't. Here, a Kleenex or paper towel can kind of help you soak up too. Because I painted that way fatter than I wanted. So let's just wiggle. Oh, I just heard Freckles. She wants to come into my studio. I'll be right back, guys. Alrighty. Freckles is hanging out with me. Freckles is my cat. She shows up once in a while in videos. Here, should we actually paint this stem tighter? I'm gonna grab just a pinch of water to lighten it up. Oh, another trick sometimes is to put in some horizontal strokes so you have dirt, grass, land. I mean, you could leave it all wiggly up and down too. To me, this is like the fun part. Just kind of let that run out a little bit. So pretty soon here we're going to decide what direction our light's coming from. Okay. So these are white daisies. Maybe not the best for a painting video. You can't, you know, my paper's white. So one thing you could do is paint sky around it. I suppose we should demo a little of that. Oh, what color? You know, I kind of like the periwinkle. I'm kind of tempted to put a little on my lid just to keep it light, because we can always go darker. And you could pre-wet the background. So just grab some water there, and I'm gonna. So if you wet the background first, it's gonna, hello freckles, the water's gonna travel further. Or the color, sorry, the color's gonna travel further. Here's where you probably want to use a bigger brush. Oh, I'm using I meant to use the one my students like. I was using the wiggle one because it was in my hand. A lot of them like this one. It's shorter. I think it just feels better to them. Get a little sidetracked. Oh, I bet you she wants out now. So I think one of the tips too in art is go as slow as you want to go. Oh, you guys, I'm gonna let her out. I'll be right back. It kind of reminds me of when my kids were young. You know, they can't make up their minds. So I'm adding just a little darker at the top because skies tend to get lighter as they go down. Okay, so that's one way to have your petals show up. And then you could, I don't know if you can see it, but my paper's starting to buckle. That's one thing nice about these pads. You just leave it on the pad until your paper goes flat. You could tape it down. No, I was gonna lighten that, but I painted over it so it got dark. We'll just leave our pencil marks in there. All right, let's paint a center. I'm just gonna paint that yellow and let it dry. Oh, I used a light yellow. Should we just use, some of you might not have a light yellow. Should we just use the regular yellow? And I think some watercolorists don't leave their pencil marks in there, or they make them really light. Some leave them in. I think it's totally up to you. And really, I got a smear here from my hand. I drug it across. This is a kneaded eraser. I think they're about $1 depending on what size you buy. And you can, you know, you knead them to get them soft if they come out of the package a little dry. And then you can shape it into any shape you want, which I like that part. Or you can just kind of use it like silly putty and lighten up your petals. Let's paint. So you can make a gray with black. Just put a little black on something to wash it out. Or I've got a gray here. You might like a palette with gray. Let's paint in. So I offloaded some of the paint on a paper towel, and now I've got just a wet brush and I'm lightening it up. A little darker. We could also do it in blue. Should we do it in? blue. Let's push this one. Oh, I'm gonna, well, let's have our light come from over here. I just tend to do that in general. That blue, I actually like it better, I think. I think this is close to an ultramarine blue. So we might have a shadow there. Have a little shadow there. So I'm thinking the sun might be blocked by that. And now we're coming around the petal. And if it's too dark, just start light with watercolors. You can kind of wash it right back out if you don't like it. Should I wash that one back out just to do it? Just to show you. I hope you can see that pretty well. Oops, sorry, I just bumped my table next to my video arm. All right, am I on? Sometimes the color are quite, I would say, gosh, I don't want to say all the time, but the value is more important than the color. But then I'll backtrack that a little bit and say, you know, cools tend to be in the shadows. Warms tend to be in the sunlight because the sun is, you know, a warm light. So it's really slow. I went really slow. I just offloaded my brush. I'm gonna kind of just scumble that in a little bit. Isn't that fun? Well, you know what? We need some green. Here, maybe we should use a brighter green. Ooh, that kind of pops. And then you could wait till it dries. Come in with a darker color. I didn't wait. Let's see, we were painting petals. Should we paint a couple of green ones? Maybe blue-green. Oops, it's darker than I want, so I'm gonna offload a little my paint, dipped it in the water. That's kind of fun. I kind of like the blue-green. Oops, what's this color? So I just offloaded a little bit of color on my brush. Another thing you can do, my masking fluid, I realized I haven't taught in a while, nor used, I haven't painted watercolor much lately. Mine's all dried up. But you use an old brush or brush is designated for masking fluid because it can ruin your brushes, and you could paint all the areas you want white. And then when your painting's dry, you just rub it off with your finger or an eraser or something. And grab a little lime green. That's gonna be I can see the color on my brush. So then here I'll show you what it looks like when I offload. I just wipe it on a paper towel and then I'll grab just a hint of water. And you can really subtly blend it up. And if it gets too light on you, you can come back out a little more paint. Just gotta drop it in there. Okay, that's kind of fun how we're changing colors as we go into the sun. Should we, I don't know if this is gonna look good. Should we put a hint of orange? Maybe a hint of yellow, since it didn't come off my brush anyway. So it's reflecting off of the center. So now you just kind of play, and hopefully I'm not jumping too far ahead for you. The main point of this is drawing and trying to think shapes. So like you could turn this into a rectangle at an angle. Well, actually, if I would have went like this, that's a rectangle. I just had turned it, you know, a cone or a circle. This is even a circle that we cut off with a parenthesis. It really helps you see things, draw things. So I'm thinking if the light's coming from here, as it bends down towards the center, it's going to have a shadow. And that's where a reference photo comes in handy. This is, I don't know where the light source is coming from. This one's a little better. So the light's coming from over here, and these are pretty much looking up at the light. So these are light because the sun's shining on it, but these get darker. So you could just paint from a reference photo the values, not only the shapes, but the values to help you. And then after a while, you kind of get the hang of it, and you can do it more on your own. I hope that made sense. I kind of like this multicolored daisies. Actually, that one might be in the light. That's kind of a tricky one. This one could go either way because it's kind of tucked underneath. I think I'm going to leave it. And we're going to say that has some light on it. I guess this was the blue-green, wasn't it? So this one's kind of tilted. So you could paint it all in shadow. You could leave some of it white. And then this one's tilted the other way, so let's let it have some. Let's have it, let it have more light. We'll just kind of shade it like that. I think you guys might like, you don't have to do the whole blob video that I did, but you could just do a couple of shapes and then practice thinking, okay, where's my light coming from? And it'll help you. And then you're just drawing blobs. It's actually kind of fun and cute. You might enjoy it. I wonder if I could find it. Hang on a second, I'll go look for it. Okay, I have a handful, I was gonna say several, but I'm not sure how many art tip videos. This is one of the first ones I did, and that's colored pencil. And even my light source is kind of changing a little bit, but it's pretty much over here because the shine is there. The shine's almost in the middle on that one, but the shine is pretty much on the left, the top left. But it's great practice, and really you can just keep adding to it. You could do a couple blobs while you're sitting in the car waiting to pick up the kids from school. I used to do that, you know, and then you can just add different shapes and circles. So you might like that. Here, I'm kind of wondering what was the next art tip video I did. Oh, here's the chicken, the rooster. So this is my painting, and then here I did the grid. So that's it. That's one of the videos I mentioned. Oh, and this is a paint swatch for Hippie Crafter. There's a neat poppy traceable that goes with the second half of this video, I think at about 13 minutes. Okay, we'll stop with the show and tell. I like art, I get excited about it. I think it's fun, and you just keep, like, I will just keep getting better. You just do. The more you do, the better you get. It's like, I think I've said this before, it's like shooting free throws. You know, you stand there and you're not making any of them, then you make a couple, and then you make a couple more. Okay, what should we do here? Oh, let's finish up a couple more petals. I don't know, let me know what you think if you like the color change. I think that's kind of fun. Should we do that a little bit? Trying to make up my mind. So another thing you can do, if you don't want to paint each petal, like I could do both of these at the same time. But then for interest, maybe pull one out a little more. This is probably pretty light. Oops, sorry, hit my video arm. So I painted them both at the same time, and then I pulled this one out a little more. My voice is kind of rough. It's Saturday morning here. It's January 2022, and we've been having kind of up and down weather, like where it's, you know, the temperature's at below 0, and then in a couple days it's 40. It's kind of crazy. Today's gonna be in the 30s. It's gonna be pretty nice. We haven't used this as kind of a fun color. I tend to want to go really light and then come back with another layer, but I'm gonna pick up the pace here a little bit so we can get that done. So this one I'm gonna say is gonna be all in shadow, and then it's sticking out enough that the white's gonna be at the end. Maybe like that. Maybe we even say this is in the light. Let's use our gray. We haven't used the gray yet. I think this one's gonna be all pretty much in shadow. You could leave it a little white at the end. Catching just a little bit of white. Okay, do we have all our flower petals painted? Let's work on our centers. Grab some orange. Our light's coming from over here. And then I'm gonna put a little down here because we're saying these are in shadow. You could leave it just yellow. And I'm gonna kind of follow my oval up there a little bit. I'm gonna let that dry. It's not really, let me even get it to go. Let's try a little heavier paint. There. Oh, here we could paint, just hint at a little shadow right there. Nope, I don't know why I cleaned off my brush. I just out of habit. Okay, this one is all in shadow, probably, or we could have a little, this is where you can get really into light. We could have a little reflective light coming there. So let's start over here. So put your paint down where you want it the darkest. Oh, I needed to say that before. That would be helpful. And I think I'm gonna lay a little, just to give it some weight, I'm gonna put a little, just kind of dotting, playing with it, kind of sneaking up on the value and the color. You can sneak up on your drawings and your paintings. They don't just like happen magically. We could redraw this several times because this looks like a light pole. It's so stiff. We might not like that, whereas these are a little better, the other stems. But I think it's good to show you what a stiff light pole flower looks like. You may think, those are my favorite things. I want to paint them that way, you know? That's what's fun about art. This is your art for you. So now I'm gonna do little dots and just straight up orange. That's kind of fun. It's really strong. Not my normal mode. Okay, let's go back and work on our greens, let that dry a little bit, and I'm going definitely want to darken that one. So we could take some, I would take a cool green or a blue. We could do a blue. This is actually kind of an aqua blue green. And let's assume that there's a shadow here. Remember when I drew the, where'd it go? Oh, where did it go? My reference photos. I always use reference photos. So let's do this. And we'll just make it a solid color. I'm gonna move this down just because we don't have much in here. So what you can do is you could just draw a line on the right side because that's your shadow side. You can, what can help you is to go a little curvy. Here, let's see if I can pick this up. a little curvy. I do this in acrylic painting too, around the stem. And I can tell my paint's running out of my brush, but that's good, because it'll give me variety. And you can always come back and darken it. If you get too light and you don't catch it while it's wet, or you get too dark and you don't catch it while it's wet, you can lighten it. Here, let's put a patch. Will this be on camera? Let's put a patch on here. Let it dry and see how we can lighten it. Oops. A lot of times I tend to grab the wrong. Okay, let's let that dry. Then we could take some, we want even a darker color. This color is darker than that one. Gonna add some. It's not coming off darker, it looks darker. Oh, there we go, just need more paint. Got a little weed or something growing there. So this one, let's just, hang on. I'm gonna load up my brush with some paint, but I don't want it too runny. Okay, let's just kind of skip and wiggle. I think that can look better sometimes. And then should we kind of anchor this one? This one got fat, but let's just kind of skinny it out a little bit. And then it's going to have a shadow where it comes behind this one maybe. It's kind of fun. This one needs a shadow. So now I'm just painting with an ultramarine blue. And if you want to anchor, kind of get some darks in there. I'm starting to worry about how long this video is getting. We have super slow upload speeds. That's kind of nice. Put a little shadow. Let's try some lime green, see what it does. So I clean up my brush. So I put it down and I lift up. That's kind of fun. Oh, I just heard freckles again. Poor girl. She probably wants me to leave it open. She doesn't like when I shut my studio door, but I don't want anybody to come in and surprise us. Just put some little dots. Oh, we're gonna splatter. Let's finish our centers and we'll call this good. Here, I'm gonna pick it up. It's getting fun. You guys can do this. Just try drawing one. Maybe try drawing this one. But I also give you, I gave you a couple different angles. Like this is pretty much a side view. This one, kind of a 3/4 view. This one's pretty much a side view. And this one is pretty much a top view. Not literally, but pretty close. That's another way to learn, is just practice drawing different flowers that you see in a reference photo, because you'll get them from different views. You know, we're looking, well, the horizon line's more here, but like this one happens to be more of a side view. Okay, centers, and then we'll call this good. Let me know if you like this video and it helps. I know the snowmen and those little simple paintings have really helped, so I'm I'm excited about that. And then my channel is also about following along. Like I am getting ready for a show in March of 2022. And I'm thrilled. I sold a couple big paintings, but I need some bigger paintings because it's a big space. So I'm trying to paint quick. So there's videos too where I show you the process of how I'm painting it, and I pop in and make some comments. I'm changing my mind. That's a lot of strong color and it's scaring me. Oh, and now I just dirtied it in my lid. Let's back off a little bit. And sometimes things happen that you don't want to happen because you're talking about your show in March instead of thinking about painting. But that's okay. You can fix it. I think too, what comes with the confidence is knowing how to fix things. I might just put let's try another layer of yellow on here. Got some water. Make that stronger. Oh, there. And see, if you paint over it, it kind of smooths it out. That's a good tip. So all those strong dots I had on there are now smoother. So now we're getting into layers and how layers help you, which is one of my favorite things. I'm trying to keep this a little more simple. Let's try this yellow orange. You know, spraying it really didn't help. I kind of like dropping the water in there. Maybe it's also the brand of watercolors too. Oh, that didn't really do anything. Let's put it there. That's kind of nice. I think on that one we want to go either another layer of orange or some red. Let's wake up our orange. That's not really darkening. Let's try a little. Hey, awkward break here because I said goodbye in a little bit here. I'll say goodbye in this video, but I forgot to show you that you can lighten up paint once it's dried. I'm just gonna use, we'll use this one. This is the brush we use for most of the video. I'm gonna make sure it's clean. And then I've got a whole bunch of clean water. I've got 2 of those. So one I only use for clean water, and one I use, this one I don't know if you can see it on camera, but it's a slightly dirty. I use that to clean my brushes. Okay, so let's just get this right here. You can use a paper towel or a Kleenex. I'm looking for a dry paper towel. Oh, you know what? A stiffer brush might work better. Oh, but you can see it's lifting. Here, I'm gonna pick this up. So you can see I'm lifting it. And I'm gonna smear it just so you can see. There's probably gonna come a point to where you're gonna damage the paper. Just grabbing a little clean water. And maybe we'll try to lift it more over here. So you scrub it, blot it. It's kind of like if you have pets or kids, or I suppose you don't even have to have those things. It's kind of like putting spot shot or carpet cleaner on your carpet and blotting it up. I think a stiffer brush would help me a little bit. This one's not that stiff. Ooh, I got a lot of water there. I don't know if that's gonna come up anymore. There's a point to where it's stained and it's stuck into the paper too. But I definitely lightened it where it was darker. Okay guys, I forgot to show you. if I didn't get any color, I just can't see it. Oh, there we go. I kind of like that. It's wet, so it's gonna bleed. Okay, guys. I hope this helped. I super appreciate you guys connecting with me. The pandemic is still going on, and I started, I can't remember exactly when we started doing, I had some old YouTube videos up, but I feel like we started in the spring of 2020 because of the pandemic. And we, meaning my daughter. Emily is my favorite daughter, and Jack is my favorite son, and Emily helps me with ideas and editing, and she puts in like the fun bee and subscribe. That's her. The intro music and the intro graphics and the end slate, that's all her. She does a lot of fun things. She also has an Etsy store and sells earrings and crochets hats and is making purses. You really should check it out. I'll put a link in this video. She'll probably hate it that I'm shouting her out, but I'll put a link in this video description too. Thank you for hanging out with me in my studio. Great big happy art hugs, and I hope to chat with you soon. Bye, guys.